second skin for the fallen and the ones who rise. In the name of freedom we ride the skies. We got the scars to show where we've been, but we wear them proud like a second skin. But we wear them proud to show where we've been, but we wear them proud. The glory's sake, we're the heart of the storm where we've been bent, but we wear them proud like a second skin for the fallen and the ones who rise. In the name of freedom we ride the skies. We're racing through the fire, burning bright with the grit of the brave. We fight the night, no chains can hold us, no fear can break. We're GLR for glory's sake. Every life never turned to do or die with the spirit of warriors the game.
In the heart of the storm we found our way, on the edge of the way, on the edge of the wild we won't betray.
In the heart of the storm we find our way, on the edge of the wild we won't betray. Every lap, every turn it's do or die with the spirit of warriors we reach for the sky. We're racing through the fire, burning bright with the grit of the brave. We fight the night, no chains can hold us, no fear can break. We're GLR for glory's sake. We're GLR for glory's sake. We're GLR for glory's sake. We're the outlaws on the asphalt, running wild, we'll never fall. In the shadows where the strong survive, GoatLocker Racing, we come alive. We're brothers and sisters bound by the code.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. And I'm feeling good.
Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Maconi Entertainment, and welcome back to tonight's coverage of GoatLocker Racing's Cruisin Classics Wednesday series, with a special hello to those watching the presentation of tonight's broadcast being shown at Nassie's Restaurant and Bar tonight. This is round number 2 of the season, and tonight we're excited to bring you all of the action from iRacing's virtual Phoenix Raceway down in Arizona. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you all of the action from all types of racing, including this series, as well as a weekly Fast Friday series. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name is Ron Mullins. Joining me in the commentary booth is Jeremy Briggs, and in the virtual production hauler, we have Marty Cazella. And now, Jeremy, we are quickly approaching race time for tonight at this oddball track in the world of motorsports, at a 115 lap race to tackle. What are your expectations heading into tonight's race?
Good evening, Ron. Man, what a change in pace from last week's wide open of Talladega to this change of, in my opinion, a 1 mile short track. The track is very flat, 10 to 11 degrees in the corners, 8 to 9 degrees, just not a lot to get, leaning those cars on. We're going to see a lot of sliding around, in my opinion, and we'll take a good look at this lineup here and get ready to go racing.
Yeah, we're going to have a great night of racing action in front of us. 115 laps, as I said, and here is the starting grid for this race. It's going to be Jeremy Gardner starting this race at the front. Jesse Whittington will join him on the front row. Then we have Ryan Pendleton in third. Payne Hubbard going to join him on that second row. Daniel D. Cunningham going to be starting this race in fifth, with Patrick Draback rounding out your third row. Mike Kostek going to be starting this race in seventh. Lucas Lyons, who took a dramatic victory last time out at Talladega, he's going to be starting this race in 8th. Tyler Justice in 9th, with Jesse Nakula rounding out your top 10.
In 11th, you have Brandon Wallace in the number 99, with Sam Milken right there in the 12th position. In 13th, you got Blake Edel there, and you got Zach Engel in 14th. George Jewell there in 15th, top 15. Ken Dorian Davis in 16th. Bobby Germain in 17th. In the number 97, you've got Johnny Cofield in the 18th starting position. In the number 26, you've got Logan Strugan in the number 19 starting position. In the 14 car, Chance Taylor starting in 20th. Just outside the 20th position there in 21st, the 114 of Travis Bieber. In the 27 car, starting 22nd, is Jacob Edlingson. And the number 44, starting 23, would be Chris Smith. In the 24th position, number 78 of Chris Sawyer. In the 25th starting position, in the number 81, will be Jake Collins. In the 26th position, we'll have the number 25 of James Kaufman. In the 27th starting position, we've got Brian Bovo there in the 08. In the 28th starting position, the 6 of Cody McLaughlin. In the 29th position, you've got the 73 of Jeremiah Holt. In 30th, you've got the number 15 of Jamie Barkis. In the 31st position, one of the last couple drivers here to take time, the 21 of Justin Klein. 32nd position will be JJ Moore. And drivers is not taking time, Jason Taylor, Mike George, Timothy Stubblefield, and Charles Stevens rounding out your field. Big amount of drivers here tonight, Ron.
Oh, absolutely. And these drivers are about to grab the green in just a couple of moments. Time for the second race of this GoatLocker Racing Wednesday night series. Started 1 week ago at Talladega Superspeedway on the high banks, and it's going to continue tonight here at Phoenix Raceway. The next race of the season is going to be in 1 week's time at Auto Club Speedway in sunny Southern California, and we hope you can join us for that in 1 week's time. But now we got to get into the meat and potatoes of the racing action from tonight at Phoenix Raceway. We welcome you all tuning into the stream on Maconi Entertainment tonight. We got some hard racing action in front of you. 115 laps. That's all about to get started now. The green flag is out, and the drivers are on their way. It's a pretty even keel start from our front row sitters. They're going to be hitting that dog leg, taking all the wide lines that we have here at Phoenix Raceway. Maybe a little bit of contact, a little bit farther in the back. You can see some side-by-side action there, and some drivers blinking in and out of existence. Some UFO activity already here at Phoenix Raceway. But as these drivers go on it to the back straightaway for the first time, it is still the driver that started this race at the front of Jeremy Gardner, leading them about to complete lap one.
Oh, I saw that one developing. I believe that was a second place car. Oh, we got more contact here going on in the back. Yellow means slow down. As these drivers have a lot going on there very quickly. I believe it was a second place car that might have got a shot from third and was just trying to save it the whole way through the turn there. We'll have to take a look at the replay here shortly. Still up front, though, is going to be the number 69 of Jeremy Gardner, with Jesse Whittington now in second. Daniel Cunningham and Patrick Trebek getting ready for the replay. Taking a look. Looks like the number 94 there. Might have just got contact with the 23. Yeah, it just took forever trying to save it. And just a lot happened so quickly. 23 trying his best to hold the brake. Just nobody else really knowing to kind of avoid him. Just, it happens quick. Take a look on the onboard here. And the Cruisin Classics machine was running second. As you can see, just looks like a little bit of help there from behind. Just took forever trying to save it. These drivers. As we look here from Zach Angle from behind, you can see a little action up there. Gonna turn left. Oh, just gets caught there in the right rear.
That was a huge hit into the outside wall for Angle. Tough for him to get caught up in that incident, which really all started between it was Ryan Pendleton that got a pretty significant whack heading in to actually it was Jesse Whittington that gave a pretty significant whack to Ryan Pendleton, and that really kicked everything off heading into 3 and 4 at the end of that first lap. So we're now under the first yellow flag of this race. A lot of drivers going to be using their first faster pairs this evening. Of course, they have only one faster pair at their hands, so these drivers are already starting to use them, but the field's starting to pack up and pair up in the not too distant future. You can see some drivers are already on pit lane trying to use those faster pairs already. That's the 78 out on away in his box. They're running a little bit farther towards the back, but looking at this race already and looking at the left-hand side of the screen with the wonderful graphics that we have tonight on this broadcast with Maconi Entertainment, you can see Chevy dominance thus far. A whole lot of Chevys up and down the field currently. The top 9 all occupied by Chevrolets, but nevertheless, with the field pacing under yellow at this point, Jeremy, drivers already breaking out the chrome horn, shall we call it, the carbon fiber, the sheet metal horn, whatever you want to call it. They're breaking out the horn heading into turn number 4 and already causing a little bit of trouble to send this field under the first yellow flag, and we haven't even hit lap 5 yet, and we already have our first yellow of the evening.
Unfortunate incident early on. Maybe just misjudged it. Maybe the second place car was just kind of backing up their corner entry and just trying to ride it out there, and third place just wasn't so ready for it, as the pace car lights, I believe, are now off. Like I said, those drivers have those fast repairs. They'll get them fixed up. Getting some help from their Lincoln Tech mechanics down there in the pits. See how that works out there for them, and they can get to work here tonight. As I believe all drivers are, one driver's out at this time. I'm not sure. We'll have to take a look. As the pace car is now off run, getting ready to come around to the dogleg.
Yeah, that pace car has made that turn to go back down pit lane, giving the field back into the hands of Gardner, who started this race from the pole, and in doing so picked up the Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award. More about that a little bit later on in this broadcast, but for now, the field about to head their way through 4 and get this race back underway. Going to be on lap 6 of 115. The green flag about to come out, waiting for that green flag to go in the air, which it has now. The drivers are back on their way. And another really good restart from Gardner. The same can't be said about Whittington and that number 94 car. He is going to be in a world of trouble trying to battle hard and actually dropping down to 4th as Drapik getting a move done on him. There you can see the number 94 running a little bit up towards the barrier, heading through turn number 3 on the 6th lap of the race. But these drivers already starting to battle hard, mainly Kostek and the number 3 car moving his way up into 4th. Well done from the driver of the Chevrolet to make up some spots. Some drivers already having some argy-bargy action heading through 4. These drivers breaking out the chrome horn and being very aggressive thus far in this race. Seeing something very similar to what we saw at Talladega just 1 week ago, Jeremy.
lot happening here early on. I believe that might have been James Kaufman in the number 25 car getting shuffled to the back. A lot of action happening here early as drivers are trying to get settled in, trying to get, they just want to get single file and get rode out and get where they want to go. And this dog leg really gets it pretty interesting going into this turn, especially on those restarts when we were almost 4 wide going into turn 1. We had cars all the way up against this bright blue wall, all the way down there, almost all below that yellow line, as these drivers continue to make moves towards the front. As you watch the drive there from the Kendoran Davis machine on the 43 there of Sam Milken. Kendoran's Davis there with Jacob Ellingson right there in the 10th position. Behind him in the 27, he's up 12 positions, making some moves here early on, avoiding those works.
A lot of these drivers are already making their way up through the field like a hot knife through butter. Mainly JJ Moore running in 14th. He's already up 18 spots from where he started in this race. But right now we're looking at battles up and down the field. These drivers going side by side, battling tooth and nail for every single spot they can. Early on here under the lights at Phoenix Raceway in iRacing, we're following the number 54 driver going side by side. He's on the inside line heading through 4. There's a big wreck heading through 4. That's a 36 car around. The Maconi setup shop car has gone for a spin with some significant front end damage as well. That is going to bring out the second yellow of this race, and it comes 10 coming up to 11 laps in. Lots of drivers getting a piece of that. That was George Jewell in the number 36 car that was involved in that, now down pit lane during the second yellow of this very early race. 11 laps in of this 115 lap long race. We've got our second yellow of the race, and I think we'll have a replay loaded up in just a couple of moments time to see exactly what brought it out, Jeremy.
Looks like the 44 car there got a little help there. I'm not sure who was on the inside of Chris Smith. Chris Smith was the one that kind of was sideways. Wasn't sure who was on the inside. Everybody else was just kind of collateral damage of that incident. Nothing looked too major. You can see the front end. Might just take some quick time to fix it if there was no meatballs there. Get it fixed. As we got quite a few drivers on pit road, as we take a look at another angle of our replay right here. On board. You see the 44 there, just nowheres to go. Kind of collateral damage. Nosed it in there, 44 drove off. Right into the door, might be okay. Yes, it looks like almost everybody is on pit road right now.
Drivers coming into the pits all ready to repair some damaged and battered next-gen race cars here from this race. Only 12 laps in. Already have our second yellow thus far. And I think while we are under this yellow, we should probably talk about some of the sponsors that we have from this series. Now, we open up the show with hearing from one of that being Cruisin Classics, of course, the title sponsor of this series. Cruisin Classics has been buying and selling cars for many years. A majority were your average daily drivers at first, but their passion has always been in muscle cars and hot rods. So in 1996, Cruisin Classics built a 56,000 square foot showroom located in Columbus, Ohio, that they still operate out of to this day. All of their vehicles are hand-picked and selected to ensure that they fit their inventory. The facility is now arguably one of the best stocked collections for sale in the entirety of the U.S., housing hundreds of unique automobiles all under one roof. They invite all of you to their facility. There is something for everybody when you come and visit. We would like to thank Cruisin Classics for being the primary sponsor of the Wednesday night Next Gen series and being with GoatLocker Racing from the very beginning. Without them and some of the other fantastic sponsors that we have from this series, these broadcasts and this racing would simply not be possible. And as the field is still pacing around under yellow, I mentioned earlier on about Nasty's Restaurant and Bar, and I believe they are tuning into the stream as they did 1 week ago for the broadcast at Talladega. We'd like to thank them for tuning in to this broadcast, and hopefully they're enjoying the wonderful food that's being served at that establishment tonight. But the field currently getting close to packing up and pairing up in just a couple of moments time. The field getting ready for another restart, the second restart in this race thus far, which, considering it's only 13 laps young, is really saying something think the lights are back out on that pace car. The field going to be preparing for yet another restart, Jeremy. We've seen two pretty similar restarts thus far with Gardner, who grabbed the pole and has been running at the front ever since the drop of the green flag. We've seen him get off to some pretty good starts thus far. We'll just have to wait and see if third time is the charm for his competitors.
Being up front seems to be the king right now. Only driver that hasn't moved, I believe, from any positions so far this evening as the pace car is now off. Gardner, Cunningham, and Drebeck, Kotsak, and Whitten, your top 5. We're getting ready to come green this time.
And actually wrapping a bow on that, Chris Smith running down in 23rd in the number 44 car. He's actually not gained or lost any spots, along with Mike George, who started at the back of the pack, and I don't believe actually took the start in this race. But nevertheless, third time's a charm. Will these drivers make it a few more laps under green compared to what they have done thus far? A fantastic restart from Gardner, cutting all the way down pretty much to the pit exit wall on the inside of the dogleg here at Phoenix Raceway. He is still leading it over Drabick and Cunningham. They're going side by side, battling for P2 and P3 respectively. Meanwhile, you've got Kostek and Whittington going side by side right behind them as well. These drivers have not ironed out at all, but with them going side by side, it's allowing Gardner to extend that gap. And look at this, some cars stopped on pit lane already trying to fix the damage. With the incidents that we've had thus far, these drivers starting to run out of their fast repairs. Hey, the mechanics can drink a whole lot of Red Bull to get these cars repaired in time, but eventually you do run out of Red Bull and you won't be able to fix the race cars with anywhere near the same speed that they have done so far in this race. But speaking of speed, Gardner in the number 69 car, he has just been absolutely indomitable so far in this race. Drapick running in second, Cunningham in third, Kostek and Whittington go round out your top 5. Looking through the rest of the top 10, we've got Ellingson, Edel, Justice, Moore, and Milcan rounding out your top 10 at the moment. Mostly made up of Chevrolets, with Moore in the number 54 car being the only Toyota disrupting that GM party, but about to click over to lap 18 in just a couple of moments time, and Gardner now extending that gap over himself and Drabick.
Speaking of drivers in the top 5, a driver just cracked himself in the top 5, the number 27 machine of Jacob Ellingson, up 17 positions right now for the number 27 machine of Jacob Ellingson. Right now, really charging through the field. Honestly, in my opinion, making it look pretty easy as he continues to make his charge to the front. Really put on one heck of a show right now. We'll have to see how that plays on right in this. We'll have to see how this plays on later in this run as the tires may become a factor. We'll have to see how it plays out, dripping down on that dog leg. Really just trying to make up as much time as he can. Like I said, plus 17 positions, 20 laps into this event.
Yeah, talk about cutting his way through the field like a hot knife through butter. That is a fantastic run thus far for him. We'll see if he can continue that pace between now and the checkered flag, which is still quite a long ways off into the distance. Currently on lap 20 of this 115 lap race. Just looking up and down the field, a lot of drivers gaining a whole bunch of positions. Some drivers losing some spots as well, mainly Ryan Pendleton, who got involved in an incident earlier on that actually brought out the first yellow of this race at the end of lap 1. But right now we're following Moore in the number 54 car. He's currently running in at 9th of 23 spots, as he said a few moments ago there, Jeremy, and he is currently trying to battle for some more. Nearly went side by side with the number 18 car of Blake Edel heading into turn number 1. Actually, no, that was Sam Milcanen. That was actually the driver he was going side by side with. So the number 43 car losing out on a couple spots, got way out of the groove heading through 4, and he's now dropping outside of the top 10. Now in the position he's in currently, he has not lost a spot since the drop of the green flag. However, he hasn't gained one either, and he is at serious risk of losing another spot to Travis Bieber in the 114 car. They're going to be side by side, about to click over to lap 22 right now. And with some more battling up and down this field, it's still Gardner leading, and as it stands at the moment, Kendorian Davis in a Toyota joining his Toyota company of JJ Moore. Those two drivers running at the top 10 as it stands at the moment.
As these drivers, we look through the field, in 17th position, the 30 car, Jason Taylor, he's moving his way to the field. And right behind him, Timothy Stubblefield, they're both up 16. And behind him, Charles Stephen in 19th position, he's up 16. Not too many drivers losing too much. Looks like Pendleton, like you said, lost a little bit and down 26. And some of these drivers getting caught up in events. I believe there's no fast repairs tonight, so that might be why we are seeing a lot of these drivers out early. I believe we have 25 cars running, 25 laps into this event. Still a long ways to go. We got to do some pits. Track time's not bad. I don't think weather-wise anything's going to change too drastically there. And we're getting ready to get settled in here, I think, for a green flag run, which should maybe give us some green flag stops, which are always exciting here in the GoatLocker Racing.
I think we're going to take a look at how these drivers are doing lap time wise, and you can see Gardner just in a league of his own. Last time by a few moments ago, clicked over to a 28.13. Actually a little bit slower than Drabick right behind, but the previous time he was about a tenth, even more quicker than Drabick right in second. But right now these drivers clicking over some pretty storming lap times. Look at Whittington in the number 94 car. It was the fastest last time by of the drivers running inside the top 10. Actually, no, it was Davis, Kadorian Davis, my apologies, was the fastest of those drivers running in the top 10 on the previous lap. And now as they tick over yet again, gonna get some more updated lap times and see how these drivers are doing. Whittington trying to be on the comeback tour after an incident earlier on in this race. That was between himself and the number 23 car. Ever since then, he's lost out on some spots. Currently running in sixth. We'll see if he will be on the comeback tour in that number 94 car. But looking up and down this field, got a whole lot of interesting storylines developing. You brought up a great point there, Jeremy, which was actually brought up in the YouTube chat. No fast repairs, unlike 1 week ago at Talladega Superspeedway when the drivers did have a fast repair at their hands. And considering the yellows that we had in that race, they certainly had to use them. Here at Phoenix, no fast repair at these drivers' disposal. So plenty of drivers spending a whole lot of time in the pits, mainly Angle. I think that was 6 minutes and 45 seconds last time by, so he is currently 22 laps down, hopelessly out of contention in this 115 lap race tonight at Phoenix. From the GoatLocker Racing Series, it's only one race old right now, but it's been fantastically entertaining thus far, and we're gonna have a fantastically entertaining restart coming up as we've had an off-track moment for some drivers. That I believe is Angle stopped in his box still. Not sure if he was involved in that drama that has just brought out this most recent yellow in this race. 28 laps in, and right as we thought we were going to get a good green flag run, Jeremy, looks like we have another incident with the 45 that's going to bring the yellow back out.
Oh, just kind of overcorrected it there. I've been there and I've done that myself very many times myself, so I know exactly what happened there, and I kind of feel bad. Just unfortunate, just trying to ride it out there, just gets loose. The tires grip back right there, and away it goes. Just the momentum, just.
Oh, I think we got some, some pit stops are starting right now. Jeremy, sorry to step on your toes there. You can see the field coming down pit lane, just about to tick over to lap 30 in this 115 lap race, but the field coming in for some somewhat early stops, trying to fit some tires on these race cars around this track where no corner is the same as the other. The tires tend to get worn down to the canvas after an extended run under green. And currently these drivers stopping in their box. It's actually no little bit of an overshoot there from the number 69 car. He had to roll back a teeny tiny bit. That may not help him in terms of his pit stop time. Is he going to be taking 4 tires? Yes, he will. Out and away is the number 69 car. Will he exit out with the lead? I don't think he will.
That was really close.
Yeah, that was extremely close on exit between himself. The driver of the number 69 car who's led for a decent chunk of this race, and the 07. I believe the 07 actually won out in that battle. I believe he did. So we have a new leader from this race that comes 30 laps in with the help of some pit stops. We're expecting a little bit of drama. I think we just got there, Jeremy.
That was drama for sure, and that's something you got to be careful of. Is just making that small, minute, mistake, and just having to back up your car. That half a second. As you can see, half a second loses you 1 position, and being the number 1 pit stall, that really gives you advantage. And if that happened under green, that could be even more damaging to your run. And we'll have to see how this plays out with Gardner not being in control. Drabick, I believe, is our defending champion of this series, so and big time leader up front right now, and we'll see how it plays out. You got Cunningham there in 3rd, Kotsek there in 4th, Whittington in 5th, JJ Moore in 6th, Blake Edel in 7th, Tyler Justice in 8th, Dorian Davis in 9th, Cody McLawn in 10th there, running your top 10. And as this caution period winds down, a couple cautions pretty early on. That was a good green flag run. I think I jinxed it there, Ron, saying I was feeling we're gonna have a green flag run, so that's my fault.
Yeah, small little commentator jinx. Don't worry, Jeremy. I've done far, far worse here on Maconi Entertainment. But as the field is still pacing away under this yellow, as you point out, Patrick Drabick in that 07 car has taken the lead of this race from Jeremy Gardner, who started up at the front, started from the pole, and he is now on the back foot a little bit. The lights are back out on that pace car, so we're going to get this race underway in just a couple of moments' time. And we mentioned at the early stages of this race that Jeremy Gardner started this race from the pole, and in doing so picked Jam Polo Award. Jam Printing and Promotions is one of the sponsors of this series. They're based out of Plainfield, Indiana. They are local and are veteran certified, and when they do well, they can do good for their community as well. Since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofit organizations, with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children as well. They've been with GoatLocker Racing since the very beginning, and they provide GLR with all the promotional items, including shirts, hats, decals, dog tags, you name it. Jam is GLR's go-to promotional company. We would like to thank Jam Printing and Promotions for being the sponsor of GLR and the sponsor of the Jam Pole Award. And speaking of, the driver that won the Jam Pole Award now on the outside line, a suspicious spot compared to where he's been so far in this race, so he's not going to get anywhere near as good of a restart that we just had a few moments ago. It is still Patrick Drabick leading over Jeremy Gardner in second. Daniel D. Cunningham running at your podium spots in third. Look at JJ Moore in that number 54 Toyota. He's cutting his way through the field like a hot knife through butter, up 27 spots from where he started in this race. He's currently running in fifth, battling hard with Cunningham for that P4 spot. Actually, Cunningham and Kostek now going side by side, trading blows for the P3 spot, but you can look up and down that top 10 to see some interesting stories. Cody Mickelwain running in the Mustang, car number 6. He's currently up 21 spots from where he started in this race. Jason S. Tyler, who I don't think we've talked about so far, he's up 22 in the number 30 Mustang. But as these drivers start to battle hard up towards the front, it's still Drabick leading, Gardner in P2, Costa, Cunningham, and more now battling hard. But look at this, we got a fight on our hands between Patrick Drabick and Jeremy Gardner. Gardner spent a decent chunk of the early stages of this race in clean air, and boy howdy is he not liking dirty air around this Phoenix Raceway track. So he is going to do everything in his power to try and grab the lead from Patrick Drabick in just a couple of moments time. Will he get a good run going down into the dog leg? You can see him running all the way down pretty much onto the pit exit, shaving feet off of the lap here at Phoenix Raceway. Gardner still running very, very fast. You can see about 112 miles an hour midway through the corner, about to shift his way up through the gears, actually not even going into fifth, heading into turn number 4. But right now, Gardner, he is running flat out, trying to find any sort of way he can to get past Patrick Drabick. They may be side by side in the not too distant future. Look at Gardner cutting those feet off the lap time, heading down as far low as he can into the dog leg. And we have a yellow out for an incident involving the number 44 car. They have gone for a spin coming out of the final corner. That is the Harbor Freight car, and we nearly just saw an airplane accident. That was a dangerously close call involving Chris Smith and the number 44. I'm not sure who that was that came onto the scene of that incident, but I think they may come down pit lane mainly for a change of pants after that close call.
I was going to say, I need to change the pants up here because I was screaming because that was close. We take a look at the replay. Oh, looks like the 78 there of Chris Sawyer just got there, and the number 44 of Chris Smith. Two cars going for one spot on the track. Looks like a little bit of a throwback scheme there. And let's see how close. Oh, man, the 81 there looks like Jake Collins. Great avoidance there as a 44 was trying to get spun back around. Looks like we had one car up there towards the wall, the 92 trying to avoid the 78 as well, trying to avoid. And then the nowhere is for the 44 to go. And when he comes back on track, gets pretty Pretty Harry's, we'll go back live here shortly and take a look at our leaderboard.
I think we will look at the field as they're pacing under yellow. It's still Drabick leading, Gardner in P2, Kostic in third. I think we're going to take a quick little commercial break and hear once again from the fantastic people over at Cruisin Classics. And then when we return here on Maconi Entertainment tonight, we'll be able to bring you this restart with about 40 laps on the board. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to Maconi Entertainment, and as we're bracing for this restart, we'll talk about one of the other great sponsors that we have here from the GoatLocker Racing series, that being Nasty's Restaurant and Bar. On March 21st of 2012, Nasty's opened its doors in Hillard, Ohio. From the get-go, they aim to embody the energy and passion of their sons Nathan and John, and the passion that they poured into their dreams. Nathan's commitment to hospitality ensured that every guest received exceptional food and service. We would like to thank Nancy's Restaurant and Bar for being one of the co-sponsors of the GoatLocker Racing Next Gen series, and also their support of watching this stream, and also hosting a numerous amount of fundraisers in their establishment as well. More on them a little bit later on. But meanwhile, the green flag is back at. The drivers are on their way. 42 laps on the board of this 115 lap race. We've already had 4 yellows thus far. Will we have more between now and the end of this race? I wouldn't put money on it. I'm not a betting man, but hey, we'll just have to wait and see how things shake out in this race. But it's currently Patrick Drabick leading over Jeremy Gardner in P2. Kostek running at your podium positions right now in third. Then we have more in that number 54 car. He's looking for some more as well. He has just put on a clinic thus far in this race, making his way up a grand total of 28 positions, and right behind him is another hard charger, that being Cody McElwin. He's up 23 spots as well. That is an insane amount of positions gained from the driver of the number 6 Mustang. But looking up and down this field, we've got some hard battling. Lucas Lyons, who won the opening race of the season just 1 week ago at Talladega, he was battling for a few moments there with Jason S. Taylor right towards the tail end of the top 10. Lucas Lyons now getting involved in a battle between himself and Milliken. Those two drivers battling hard heading into turn number 3. The 48 and the 43 battling hard. You can see Justice a little bit farther up the road. That's Tyler Justice, to be precise, in the number 33 Chevrolet. He's starting to pull away in front of these two. He's lost 1 spot ever since the drop of the green flag. He's going to try and look to be on the comeback tour. But right now, these drivers starting to settle down a teeny tiny bit. I say settle down. We got a battle maybe developing here for the lead between Drabick and Gardner, with these two separated by about a quarter of a second.
Watching Gardner here, you can definitely tell it takes him a couple laps just to get it refired up, and he starts closing back in Drebeck. I'm not sure if it's the dogleg that's helping. He's got a lot more entry speed on Drebeck, but Drebeck holding strong there on the exits. As Gardner looks like he might be there to the quarter panel finally. Gonna let him have it this time in turn 1. As you can see right there at his bumper, putting the pressure on.
He is close, and you can see from the rear view camera of Drebeck. Look at these drivers very close heading into turn number 4. It's a matter of about a tenth of a second separating the two of them. They're now going to be side by side. Look at Gardner cutting down to the inside of the racing surface, trying to get that move done to retake the lead of the racing. Going to be side by side heading into turn number 3. Drebeck and Gardner battling hard, but they can't battle too hard because Kostek will be there to pick up the pieces if they come to blows. But Drebeck was able to get a good run off of turn number 3 to hold on to the lead for now. It all started a matter of about 17 laps ago when the drivers came down pit lane for the first round of pit stops. That's what cost Gardner the lead. He overshot his pit box a teeny tiny bit and gave up the lead to Drebeck. He took it, and he's been trying to run away with it ever since, but Gardner is keeping him true and keeping him straight. It's been about a quarter of a second separating both of these drivers ever since the drop of that green flag when we had that restart not very long ago. And look at that 3 car. That's Kostek. He is very close as well. Only a half a second off of Drebeck. And if these drivers have a little bit of argy-bargy action on one of the corners around this racetrack, we could very well see Kostek just swipe by the both of them and be able to take the lead of this race on a fantastic comeback for the driver of the number 3 car, who was in a contending spot 1 week ago at Talladega, finds himself in another good position here at a very different racetrack under the lights in Phoenix.
As the 69 of Gardner tries to keep cutting this dog leg to try to get this lead back. Gets side by side. Oh, contact! Oh, man. Man, that was a great save there by the 07 as we're going to be still side by side down the backstretch here.
Ooh, Drebeck Gardner, who is going to prevail in this fight? It looks like it's going to be Drebeck for now. I think Gardner backed out of it. Yes, he did. But now he's going to find himself at risk of a position being put on him by Kostek. Those two drivers may be side by side in the not too distant future. And look at Moore as well. He's running in 4th, and he wants a piece of this action as well. Currently the top 4 in this race. 51 laps into the 115 lap affair here. Currently the top 4 separated by a tick over a half a second, and we may see a battle developing here between Kostek and Moore. Those two drivers running in opposite race cars. One's in a Chevy, one's in a Toyota, one's number 3, one's number 54. But as those two drivers battle hard, we've got a fight continuing here between Drebeck and Gardner. Those two covered by less than 0.2 of a second, hang their way through turn at number 3 on lap 52 of this 115 lap race. Patrick Drebeck is trying to fight like hell to hold on to that spot, and look at a move from JJ Moore down the inside. Had to get to 4. He's trying to take out that P3 spot from the number 3 car of Kostek. With those two battling hard, it's allowing Drebeck and Gardner to extend their gap a little bit, but the fact that they're going side by side now is going to bring Kostek and Moore back into that fight. Those two cars still covered by less than 0.2 of a second, hang their way through turn number 3 right now. Currently on lap 53 of this race, coming to 54 in just a couple of moments time, but Drebeck and Gardner putting on a fantastic fight at the north end of the field.
As these drivers up front continue to battle on, we're going to have one car that's going to be lap traffic. Going to be just out of the way there. Imagine being that lap traffic and the leader being that low through the dog leg. Or one. Oh, we got a yellow on the track.
Oh, and it's a 44 yet again. No. Oh, my God. Okay. That's a sketchy rejoin yet again from the number 44 car. We saw that, Matt, I believe it was the last yellow in this race. We saw a very sketchy borderline completely unsafe and out of line rejoin from the driver of the number 44 car. That's Chris Smith. It's now 2 for 2 in that Harbor Freight car. I think it's a good thing that he's sponsored by a tool company, considering the rejoins that he's had thus far. He is definitely needing, so all his competitors may need some tools after that, and some of his competitors may be calling him a tool after the rejoins that he's had thus far. He even made a little bit of contact with the number 51 car. Not sure why that was the case. They gave him a little bit of bump under yellow. You can see the 44 car getting involved in that incident. That car is already destroyed. And look at that, the unsafe rejoin from the 44 trying to get back going in the right direction. Rejoins directly into the path of the 51 car. And I think there may have been some extracurricular shows of displeasure from the number 51 car to the 44. An overcorrection. As an IndyCar fan, I know that when you're spinning on oval track, you just you lock it down. You don't want to correct, because chances are you're just going to end up like the 44 car just did and take a one-way trip into the outside barrier. But as that's been going on, as that's been sparking fury with Chris Smith, the second round of pit stops have already came and went, and there you can see the 07 exiting at pit lane in convincing fashion. Look at that, a very slow stop from the driver of the number 69 car. Gardner started this race from the pole, and ever since then he has dropped back, and it looks like he's going to lose out on some more spots as well, and possibly has some sort of penalty coming his way as well.
It looked like there was contact between him and Gardner coming onto pit road. If we can maybe get a replay of them coming onto pit road, we'll have to see what happened. I don't know if there was even a little bit of damage maybe there to our leaders and whatnot. A lot happening on here as we got new faces and new places up front. Not sure what's going on, but we'll take a look. Right on board here, I believe, with the second place machine coming into pit road. See what it looks like. Oh, it's all good. We're just a little bit too far ahead with us. Backing up just a hair. Here we go. Not sure if he tried to gas it up.
Oh, he did. Yeah, that may be a pit lane speeding penalty coming the way. The number 69 car Gardner started this race from the pole, picked up the Jam Pole Award in the process. But ever since he lost out on the lead, things have gone south for him, and this is going to be a pretty significant penalty. There you can see the pit stop strategy and the time that these drivers have been spending on pit lane thus far. Some pretty big movers and shakers just based off the pit strategy and the pit strategy alone. I will say Lucas Lyons, who won 1 week ago at Talladega, he has now inherited P2 in this race as a result of the split pit strategies that we're seeing right now. But as the lights are out on the pace car, that had to have been a speeding penalty from the number 69 car. That was borderline. Tried to gain a little bit of time, goose the throttle a little bit, and it just ended in tears.
Just seems like when the snowball effect happens, it happens. It just keeps getting worse and worse as we got Jason Taylor, Lucas Loynes, Bobby Jermaine, Jeremiah Holt, Patrick Trebek, Mike Kosex, then Cody McLaurin, Blake Edel, Johnny Cofield, and Daniel Cunningham. Your top 10 coming to the as the top 4 did not pit. This could lead to some chaos. Almost halfway. We'll see how this goes. Coming to green.
Yes, we certainly will, Jeremy. This is going to be a dramatic and incredibly intriguing restart. 58 laps on the board, coming to 59 this time by. We're now over halfway through this race, coming up to halfway through, my apologies, but these drivers are back at the green flag is back on. They're on their way into turn number 1. Look at that disastrous restart from Lyons. He's now trying to go side by side with Drapik in the 07. A little bit of wall contact as well, it must be said, as the 6th yellow of the race has come at, as they just had a moment hang through turn number 3. There you can see the number 25 car stopped against the wall. He has had an off-track moment, some pretty significant damage on the front end of that race car. It should be noted as well. These drivers racing very hard on the restart, and considering the split strategies that we have as well, we were kind of expecting a little bit of the drama that we just got on that restart, Jeremy. We were We're expecting some drivers with split strategies to go for some bonsai maneuvers, for lack of a better term. I think we just saw with the 25. Oh no, that was a big hit. 78 car involved in that as well. I'm not sure who that was. That may have been the 84 that also got a piece of that drama hang through turn number 3. But we were expecting these drivers to go for some bold and audacious moves, considering we're quickly approaching that halfway mark of this 115 lap race. And I think we just saw that get put on full display a few moments ago there, Jeremy.
Well, Ron, that's one of the biggest dangers of going down in that dog leg is when you're coming back up on the track. If they're 3 wide, there's really no room for 4 cars, so you're kind of stuck below that yellow line. And unfortunately, I don't think the message was sent there and tried to come up with there was no space. I'm not sure if it was just 3 wide either way, but unfortunate circumstances is that green, as we went green that time, that was halfway. We got 55 laps to go here tonight with the GoatLocker Racing League. This has been a great evening so far. When they get this green flag going, there's been a lot of stories beginning to develop. We got some drivers that have come from way back in the field. We got drivers that were up in the front trying to make their way back to the front of the field. We'll have to watch these stories as we only got just 55 laps to go. In just a few moments, we'll be going back to green and see how it shakes out.
I feel like some of the viewers tuning into this broadcast tonight exclusively on Maconi Entertainment may have heard my insecurities with my own math skills got put on full display on that last restart. So we were at the halfway mark. I had to pull out the calculator app on my phone. 57.5 is a halfway mark of this 115 lap race. So we are past that now. Now clicking over to lap 62. Still have a few more moments until we get this race back underway. And shall I mention, at a time like this, considering we've already been on the air for about, I would say probably about 50 minutes thus far, I would like to thank all of you for tuning into this broadcast tonight on Maconi Entertainment. We'll actually just talk through some of the action that we have coming up on Maconi and coming up with this series as well, because we've got a fantastic schedule of races in front of you from the GoatLocker Racing Cruisin Classics Wednesday night next gen series. But here on Maconi Entertainment, the drama comes in spades and the action comes in spades as well. Coming up tomorrow is going to be the Wings and Wheels MX5 series. That's going to be a race at Laguna Seca, so if you're in the mood for some road course MX5 action, you know where to tune in. Now we also have the Maconi Setup Shop Fast Friday monthly money race. That is going to be not next gen, that'll be late model cars running around Dover Raceway. That's going to be a pretty entertaining race coming up this Friday. Drivers racing for some pretty good paydays and some trophies as well. We also got the GoatLocker Racing Truck Series coming up this upcoming Sunday at Texas Motor Speedway. The Touring Car Championship League is going to be running next-gen cars at Homestead, Miami as well in the next few days. We also have action from the Maconi C-Fix Spread of Field race. That's going to be kicking off Season 4 of 2024 at Rockingham Speedway on September the 11th. The same night as the GoatLocker Racing Cruisin Classics Next Gen Series is going to be running at Auto Club, so you'll want to tune in to all the action here on Maconi Entertainment because you really don't want to miss out on anything. Gives you more of a reason to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a single thing. But we're not going to miss the action on this restart because we still got a shuffled up field. Drabic made up a couple spots, but he's still running a P3. He's going to be locked behind the provisional front row for this lap 63 restart. Coming to 64 now, it's going to be Jason Taylor and Lucas Lyons on that front row. Taylor already up 32 spots in this race, but Patrick Drabic in that 07 car, he's got to try and make up some positions as well and try not to lose any as Mick Ilwin was trying to go for a move, heading into 3 and 4. These drivers feeling exceptionally racy as we are in the second half of this race right now. Some drivers running on some fresher tires a little bit farther in the back, some drivers running on some battered tires running at the north end of the field, but these drivers already really fanning out, going too wide around this racetrack. Saw some drivers maybe doing a little bit of wall riding action heading through 3, but nevertheless, look at Drabeck going for a dive on Lucas Lyons. He's not going to have a good enough run coming out of 3 to try and clear the driver, the number 48 Chevrolet, but Drabeck feeling really, really bold right now. This is a battle between 2 Chevrolets, and they want to displace a Ford running at the north end of this field. Jason S. Taylor up 32 spots from where he started in this race. He is the hard charger by far, and as it stands currently, he is leading by 0.4 of a second over Lucas Lyons in P2. Patrick Drabeck in 3rd. Cody McIlwain running out your top 4. Mike Kostek running in 5th at the moment. Daniel Key Cunningham in 6th. Blake Edel in 7th. Jeremiah Holt in 8th. Sam McIlwain in a P number 10 now as he's got a move put on him. Brian Provo, a lot of battling up and down the field really hard to run through the top 10 with the hard side-by-side action that we have here at Phoenix Raceway, but Taylor still leading it. Lyons running in P2. Drabeck trying to displace Lyons of that second place spot. They're going to be side-by-side coming out of turn number 3, but Lyons just able to get a good enough run coming out of these corners to be able to withstand the challenge from Drabeck, but I feel like it's a matter of when, not if, that he'll get that move done. Lyons just ran wide, hang through 4, and that is going to concede that P2 spot to Drabeck. After a whole lot of battling, Drabeck is now going to have to pick up the pieces and trying to reclaim that lost time between himself and Taylor, now about a half a second separating the 2 cars at the front of the field.
We'll have to keep an eye on this battle up front as these drivers trying to get their area situated. We'll look just outside the top 10 here. Like you said, we got the 08 of Brian Provo in 11th. We got Tyler Justice there in 12th for right now. We got Jeremiah Holt in 13th. Travis Bieber, he was having a good run there, if I remember correctly, at Talladega last week. Bobby Germain there in the 15th position. Timothy Stubblefield started in the back of the pack tonight in the number 92, now up to 16th. We got a yellow flag on the track as Taylor, our leader, spun out. We'll have to see how that happened, as those old tires might have played a factor. Let's take a look at this replay here shortly as Taylor looks to rejoin the field.
That is going to be a heartbreaker. The driver that pit all the way back on lap 29, probably struggling with a whole lot of grip on those tires, which were coming up to well over 40 laps old. And looking at the replay now, the 41 car sailing its way off into 4, just lost traction midway through the corner. And I gotta say, there's a little bit of contact between the number 41 car and Patrick Drabeck in that 07 who arrived on the scene of the incident, and probably a little bit damaged possibly on the front end of that 07 car. We'll have to touch on that throughout the rest of this broadcast. But that was a heartbreaking mistake from Jason Taylor, the driver with the number 41 on the side of his car, actually number 30 in iRacing, but the Mustang was running up 32 spots from when he took the green flag. He's still up 14 spots, but after that mistake, his chances of winning it tonight from the GoatLocker Racing Wednesday night Next Gen Series have been all but dashed in the second half of this race.
And watching that replay, it kind of looked like he might have had his right rear tire on that seam, and it kind of just spun him out, because when you're on those seams, you kind of lose a little bit of traction. There's not a lot of track right there to hold the tire on it. So, when those tires are old, you get a little bit loose, and there's not much traction to keep it from spinning out. So that might have just been kind of one of those instances where it just happened. And like you said, the 07 very close there to making contact. If not, maybe made a little contact, not sure, but obviously he stayed out as he is our leader. The number 6 machine up 26 positions there in second. Mike Kosek in the 3 machine up to 3rd. Blake Edels in 4th. JJ Moore, we've been talking about JJ Moore all night, making his way up in the top 5 again, up 27 positions. Jeremy Gardner's fallen back a little bit here, worked his way back up after having some pit road issues there. So Gardner just outside the top 5. And you got the 43 machine behind him in 7th, the 08 in 8th, 91 of Cunningham in 9th, Tyler Justice, the 33 in 10th. As these drivers continue to pace around, let me get ready to go back to green. I know you were just talking about there, making a little commercial break there, was the Fast Fridays with late model stocks at Dover. I'm going to make my attempt at it. We'll see how it goes. These drivers that run those Fast Friday races are pretty darn good, so I'm going to put my hat in there, and we'll see what happens and see if we can put on a good show.
Hey, I think that's going to be a good show regardless. I'll keep my eyes peeled out for you, Jeremy, in that race, because that is going to be a pretty fun one. Dover, I guess, would be considered my hometown track. I'm not sure if Pocono is closer or if Dover is closer, but nevertheless, they're still pretty close, pretty much in my wheelhouse in Dover. That is just such an interesting ride in the world of racing. So at this point in time, lots of drivers preparing for that monthly money race, and you can catch the rest of the action in the final trifecta of qualifying races for the final monthly money race here exclusively on Maconi Entertainment. Got a whole lot of action we've already talked about thus far. Gives you more of a reason to subscribe, and it also gives you more of a reason to stay tuned on for this broadcast, because we've had a pretty exciting show thus far, and I'm sure it's going to continue now on lap 73, coming to 74 this time by. Not going to have a whole lot of time left to go in this race. So these drivers maybe going to feel a bit more antsy, feeling a bit more under pressure. We'll just have to wait and see if we have another yellow. 7 yellows so far in this race. We've had a whole lot of restarts with it as well, and this is another one the green flag is back at, and yet again it's that 07 car of Drabeck leading them over. McIlwin running in P2, Kosek in third, Moore still running very strongly in fourth, Edel running at the top 5 at the moment, but Drabeck having another very good restart. I gotta say, the leaders of this race thus far have been able to get some fantastic restarts thus far. Drabeck proving that and putting it on full display just one lap ago. He is still leading over the 6 Mustang right behind. Kostek running in third, more so in fourth. He's trading blows with Gardner, who's put his way through the field quite nicely after that pit lane speeding penalty that sent him back to the back of the pack not terribly long ago. Gardner putting on a wonderful recovery drive, now making his way up to 5th.
Heavy hitters making their way back to the front. I'm sure Drabeck's probably knows where those drivers are, knows they're coming. Oh, we got another yellow on the track.
Ooh, and what brought this yellow out? Ooh, I believe that's a 114. Yep, it is Bieber in the 114, and that's another incident involving the 44 as well. I believe this is 8 cautions thus far in this race. I believe the 44 car has been involved in at least 3 of them. I think he may have had a piece in the opening lap drama that we had many moons ago. It feels like it's been a very long time since we grabbed that green flag. 77 laps on the board currently. I think we're going to get that replay loaded up, and oh yeah, you can see the 114 just drifting into the side. Oh, and that was a significant hit as well. Who was that T-boning the side? I believe that may have been the 25 car that just ran into the driver's side or passenger side. I believe it may have been the passenger side of the 44 car, but nevertheless the 25, who I believe got a piece of that incident. He pretty much just stopped on a dime. That was a huge hit. Yeah, it was in the driver's door as well. Oh yeah, you could see that 25 car. That was a 14 bajillion G impact for him. That is going to leave that car feeling quite sour and very ill handling. I've had a whole lot of incidents thus far in this race, and this is going to bring out yet another yellow here from the GoatLocker Racing Wednesday night Next Gen Cruisin Classics series. As we take a look at another angle, the 25 car just T-boning into the side of the 44 car. I'm not sure who that was going in at what felt like Mach 5. That was an insane looking replay. Thank you very much, Marty. These replays have been fantastic thus far tonight, and this is another fantastic angle. Oh, look at that. So close to not getting involved in that. Yeah, Jeremy, he was locked up. I think those tires have probably been reduced down to the canvas and turned into rectangles as a result of that. But we have 78 laps on the board, 115 left to go. I think we're going to take a brief little commercial break while the field is pacing under yellow for the 8th time in this 78 lap old race. And then we'll be right back to bring you what is setting to be a dramatic finish from the second race of the GoatLocker Racing Wednesday series. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We're back here from Maconi Entertainment. We're back here at Phoenix and ready to get this race back underway. 35 laps left on the board of this 115-lap affair. The green flag is out and the drivers are back down on their way, careening their way into 1 and 2 in just a couple of moments' time. It's still Drabick leading over McIlwin in P2. Kostek running at their podium in third with Moore in that Toyota. He is a hard charger now, trying to get a move done on Kostek. They're going to be side by side on corner exit, hang their way into 3 and 4 in just a couple of moments' time. Moore has made his way up through the field, cut through it like a hot knife through butter, and as it stands at the moment, looking to try and gain another spot. Kosek and him side by side for the past lap, and look at that, another yellow coming out in this race. This is the 9th yellow and some more wrecked race cars. That's the number 15 involved in that. I think that may have been the 51 that was stopped on the outside barrier coming out of 3 and 4. I'll tell you what, Jeremy, with the drama that we've seen so far in this race, it's a very good thing that this series is brought to you by Lincoln Tech. Lincoln's mission is to provide superior education and training to provide students for in-demand careers in supportive, accessible, and learning environments, transforming students' lives and adding value to their communities. They're one of the largest automotive technology schools in the nation with 23 campuses. They're the title sponsor of the fall series and also a very large partner of GoatLocker Racing. And it's a good thing that we have sponsorship from Lincoln Tech. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to repair all of these race cars. And we're taking a look at the replays of this drama. It was a single car spin for the 15, and he just got pile drove with some cars coming into the scene.
Looks like he just went down on the apron just a little bit too much and just spun him around. As you can see, he's already got wheel to the right. Spins in traffic behind him, just nowheres to go. Unfortunate circumstances. So we're trying to get a green flag event here. Trying to get a green flag run. Wow, stroked out there for a second. Forgot my words. As we have 32 laps to go. Drbeck, McLowan, Kosek, Moore, Gardner, charging back to the front there in 5th. Milken in 6th. Edel 7th. Excuse me, yep. Brian Povo 8th, Daniel Cunningham 9th, Jesse Winnington is in 10th. As we look further on, last week's winner, Lucas Loins, is in 11th. Jason Taylor is in 12th. Tyler Justice is 13th. Charles Stevens is 14th. Bobby Germain is 15th. Timothy Stubblefield is 16th. 17th, just involved in that incident as well as Travis Bieber. Jeremiah Holt is in 18th, and I believe the rest of the drivers will be laps down behind them, as I believe they're on pit road. But as we continue to look through the field of drivers, either a couple laps down or out of the field. 19th on back, you got Chris Sawyer. Looks like he's getting back on the track. Chance Taylor, Chris Smith, Jesse Nukla, James Kaufman. Looks like Chris Smith got back on track. Ryan Pendleton, Jake Collins, Logan Strugan, Jimmy Barkus, who was just in that wreck, I believe, as well. Justin Klein there in 28th. Johnny Cofield in 29th. Kendarian Davis in 30th. Jacob Ellingson, who was one of the biggest Chargers, got up there to the front. Not sure what happened to him, but he's in 31st and I believe out of the race. George Jewell, 32nd. Brandon Wallace, is 33rd. Zach Angle with a big wreck early on, 34th. Peyton Hubbard, I'm not sure if he started. He is 35th. And Mike George, I do not believe, started the race in 36th. As these drivers continue to pace around the track, there's no fuel strategy. I believe we're good to go to the end. If anything, it might be a tire strategy game, but we've got to get some green flag laps in for that to happen, as we will have 30 laps to go. Looking at our pit strategy, stint lengths there. Stint lengths. Drivers where they're at and how they're making out right now, and everybody's pretty even across the board. Nothing out of the ordinary right there. As pace car lights are off, field is doubling up. This has been a great night here at the Cruisin Classics Wednesday night next gen series of the GoatLocker Racing League. Hopefully we can finish it strong, as we'll have, I believe, 29 laps to go when they take the green flag here, Ron.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of time left to go for these drivers. They're feeling the burn, they're feeling the pressure, and they're feeling extra risky. Is anyone going to go for a ridiculous move? Is anyone going to try and challenge Drabick on the lead of this race? He's been up there ever since we saw Gardner have that moment down pit lane on the first series of pit stops, all the way back on lap 30. Ever since then, Drabick has been able to put on a very good show controlling this race. He's controlling this restart. The green flag is back out for another time tonight on Maconi Entertainment, and it's still Drabick leading, Mick Ilwin running in P2, Kosick in third. He's still battling with more of those drivers. There's no love lost between the 3 and the 54. They're going to be close on corner exit coming out of turn number 2. Looks like Moore's actually going to clear him. I have a very strong feeling about Moore. That driver has cut his way through the field a lot throughout tonight's race, and I'm sure between now and the checkered flag, he will be able to gain some more spots. And I mean, he doesn't have to gain a whole lot of spots between now and the end of this. He, as I just said, he has put on a rousing drive thus far. That's a huge wreck heading through 3 and 4. Several drivers involved in it. We saw a big one last week at Talladega, and we just saw a big one here at Phoenix, and that's going to bring out the 10th yellow of this race with 88 laps on the board. And we're going to load out the replay in just a couple of moments time if we can find it. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. I think we had some alien encounters as well, with some drivers blinking in out of existence, but we are going to be following the driver who at one point was at the north end of the field. You can see the 94 car just getting involved in that. That involved our previous race winner of Lucas Lyons. So as much as he was able to avoid the drama at Talladega just 1 week ago, he was unable to avoid it here at Phoenix tonight. But a lot of good race cars taken out in that incident. The 94 car got a piece of that. He's going to have to try and repair that. That was Jesse Whittington. He's putting on a rousing drive. 43 got a piece of that as well. Whole lot of stuff that just went down. I think we have some more stuff going on in live action as the field is coming down pit lane for what is set to be the final round of pit stops. And I will say Patrick Drabick, who's put on a very rousing drive and is leading it in that 07 car, he didn't come down pit lane there, I believe. However, the likes of Daniel Cunningham, Jeremy Gardner, Mike Kosick, and Tyler Justice have. We've now got another split strategy race on our hands, Jeremy, coming towards a conclusion of what we were expecting was going to be a very dramatic race. And with only 25 laps left to go, we've got drivers on new tires, drivers on old tires, drivers maybe trying to save a little bit of gas, and some other drivers that are just going to be flat out between now and the checkered flag. I think the one word we could use to describe the way this finish is tracking is compelling.
One thing is going to be is getting to the end. This almost has a little bit of a Talladega feel with it. I believe there's only 14 cars left running on the lead lap, so I can kind of see why some of these drivers, you know, if you're already running like fourth or fifth, why not pit? You know, the worst you're going to start is just out the top 10, and the car like Gardner there, just pretty much a rocket ship tonight. Have to see what he can do to make it back to the front, as there's quite a few damaged cars out here now, so. Gonna be a little chaotic. We're at 24 laps to go, 25 laps to go right now, and it's definitely getting eventful. I hope everybody at Nasty's Bar and Grill restaurant and bar is having a good time watching our broadcast tonight. As we watch this broadcast, gotta thank them again for all their support. Hopefully we'll have to figure out I gotta figure out where they're at. Maybe I'll have to swing by and grab some food sometime. I'm not too sure where they are. I'm located in New York, so I have to look them up and give them a try sometime if I'm over in the area. In my travels, I do like to travel to NASCAR races, so you never know where you're going to end up. I got quite a few options. I believe you said, Ron, that you were close to Pocono and Dover. As myself, I'm close to Pocono and Dover, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, right in the middle in the city of brotherly shove, as we like to call it, the city of Philadelphia. Fantastic city, and was ripped to shreds by comedian Bill Burr many, many moons ago. I have listened to that rant that he did talking about the city of Philadelphia, full of many quotes that I would not be able to say at Maconi Entertainment, mainly because I value my job. But nevertheless, yeah, I think, you know, I'm a Philly guy, so I love some cheesesteaks. I'm curious if Nasty's has some pretty good cheesesteaks. I'll maybe have to follow you up on that one, Jeremy, as well. Could make a trip out for there. Maybe, you know, between now and the end of the season, which isn't coming until the midway through the month of December. So we got a little while left to go. Maybe we can contact the boss man here at Maconi Entertainment and maybe have a broadcast done from that very bar and restaurant, and maybe have some food to accompany us during these exciting races. And speaking of, 24 laps to go at the moment, 23 this time by, and you can see just in terms of the incidents that we've had, 10 yellows, mind you, and you could just see it on track. The field is starting to thin out. The herd is starting to thin out as well. The real thing is, are we going to see a stampede, or are we going to see a mass cow tipping on this restart coming at 23 laps to go? The green flag is back at. The drivers are back on their way, and I'm curious to see how JJ Moore is going to do in that number 54 Toyota. But right now, it's a driver who we've had our eyes on all throughout tonight's race. That being the leader of Drabick. He's still leading it, but look at the action a little bit farther in the back. Lots of drivers feeling really, really racy, even with that drama that we saw a few moments ago. Lucas Lyons, who won last time out at Talladega, still running solidly inside the top 10, currently in P8. Well done from Lyons to even be in consideration towards the end of this race with the incident that he got involved in just a couple of moments ago. But right now, it's the 07 car of Drabick leading over this car of McIlwain. He is up 26 spots thus far in this race. That number 6 Mustang has cut his way through the field, as has JJ Moore right behind in the number 54 Toyota Camry, and then right behind is another Mustang of Jason Taylor. We saw him spin heading through 3 and 4 not terribly long ago. He brought a yellow out after spinning from the lead, and oh, that's a big moment. Look at that. That's a 6, and oh, that's a huge hit. Upside down is a number 73 car of Jeremiah Holt. That was a hellacious collision as they head their way into turn number 1 and 2. It's going to bring out the 11th yellow of this race. That was a huge one heading down on the outside of the dogleg.
Excuse me, my apologies. I said first place. I meant to say that was second place. There a lot happening pretty quick. That was a big incident happening so quick on the broadcast. We can't wait to get a look at this replay as our replay booth puts it together. Oh, dogleg just chewed him up. Oh, bouncing around. Wow. Big contact for the cars behind him that really had nowheres to go. It just happened so fast. As you can see, the right rear tire just dangling around. That car is going to get towed. That is most likely going to do it for the rest of that driver's night, as it looks like he ended up limping it back to pit road. But heavy, heavy damage. The 69 car there of Jeremy Gardner is on a tear. That's probably the worst news for the 3 cars in front of him, because he has the freshest tires. As we take a look on board here with Jeremiah Holt, who takes a wild ride. up and in the air.
Oh,
Wow.
my lord, I gotta say, some of the Maconi Entertainment cameras that we have on these race cars are tough cookies. The fact that that camera didn't blink out as a result of that action and riding on board with him in the car, that was a wild ride for a Holt. He is going to be done for in this race. That car was absolutely destroyed. I believe it may have been the 14 car that Pyle drove into the back of him. Now gonna follow the 6 in this collision. That is not a good view at all if you're in a next gen race car. Just seeing a car coming towards you upside down floor first, that is not ideal at all. That is for darn sure. But our first flip, not even of this race, the first flip of the season, I believe. Surprisingly, it doesn't come at Talladega. It comes at Phoenix only 1 week later. You know, speaking of, we have got a fantastic schedule of races in front of us for this season. As I mentioned earlier on in this broadcast, it's been a little while since I mentioned it, so I will bring it up again for posperity's sakes. The next time you'll see this series is going to be in 1 week's time in sunny Southern California at Auto Club Speedway. Then we're going to be going to a much different track of Bristol Motor Speedway on the 18th of September. Watkins Glen going to be the first road course race of the season. Then we're going to be heading to me and Jeremy's backyard, that being Dover on October the 9th. Atlanta Motor Speedway going to be another plate race a week after that, with the race at the Brickyard coming after that on October the 23rd. Now we have a Gateway or Worldwide Technologies Raceway if you're the sponsor. I mean, you know, who cares? Worldwide Technology Raceway just doesn't have the same ring as Gateway. That is going to be on October the 30th. That is going to be a very spooky night of racing action one day before Halloween. Then Darlington running at the Lady in Black to end the regular season off. Then we go into the round of 12, 2 races for that round at Richmond and Charlotte. Then we go into the round of 8 with races at Iowa Speedway and Nashville Super Speedway. Then we settle the championship 4 at Las Vegas, followed by championship celebrations. That will be the order for the drivers if they manage to seal the deal for the championship 4 race here on Maconi Entertainment at Las Vegas Motor Speedway on December the 18th, 2024. Got a whole lot of action coming up from this series, and the action from tonight has been intense. We're going to be coming up to lap 100 in a couple of moments, Jeremy. About to restart it on lap 99. These drivers have been putting on a very strong show, very hard show as well. Some good strategy thrown in the works as well. Got a jumbled up grid as we have ever since the first round of pit stops. Patrick Drabick in that 07 car going to be leading them back to green. JJ Moore in the number 54 Toyota will join him on the front row. Jason S. Tyler, another driver, up 30 spots, looking for some redemption after the mistake that he had earlier on in the race. And the pole sitter of Gardner got to join them on the second row. The green flag is back out. The drivers are back on their way into turn number 1 and 2, and as the field continues to thin out, the chances of a yellow continuing to be declared in this race, certainly not out of these drivers' minds considering we've had so many yellows thus far, but these drivers are more focused on the checkered flag rather than the yellow flag, and we're seeing that right now from JJ Moore. He's trying to go around the outside of Drabick to take the lead of this race. I believe he will be able to lead that lap 100 of this lap. We've now got 15 laps to go from the GoatLocker Racing Wednesday night Cruisin Classics series with the next gen cars. Moore leading over Drabick. Gardner running in P3. He got a move done on Taylor. I'm still keeping my eyes on him because he has a very fast race car, as does Gardner. Started this race on the pole, lost the lead and lost touch with the front running positions about 30 laps in, but in the final third he has put on a resilient effort. He's now running in the final podium spot in P3, and if he plays his cards right, he could have a very good shot to bring home the checkered flag at Phoenix tonight. But it's JJ Moore leading it over Patrick Drabick in P2. Gardner running in third, and he is flying a 27.51 last time by, a little bit slower than JJ Moore at the front of this field, but much quicker than Patrick Drabick last time by, even last time by as well. Gardner faster than the 2 cars right in front of him. That number 69 car is going to be exceedingly quick, and I think he's trying to flaunt those skills, flaunt his speed and also flex his muscles a little bit. He was nearly going side by side with Drapic, hang through 1 and 2 a couple of moments ago. And that number 69 car, Jeremy, you brought it up a few moments ago. That number 69 car is fast, but he needs to keep it on the racing surface. He didn't do it, hang through 3 and 4, and he's going to relinquish P3 to Taylor, going to get that move done back in that Mustang. We currently got a Toyota, a Chevy, and a Ford running in P1, P2, and P3 respectively. But we were talking during the latest commercial break that we had a few moments ago there, Jeremy, that this number 69 car of Jeremy Gardner is exceedingly quick. You said that he was a driver that we need to keep our eyes on. You think that's still the case?
I think it's still the case, but I think that was the case. He just had a little slip up right there. I think that's going to kind of diminish that little run there, because the passing right now does seem to be pretty extremely hard, and these drivers are now side by side there with Taylor. It's just really hard to get that pass now. I'm not sure how much fresher his tires are than the drivers in front of him, but it was definitely obvious there until he made that little slip up. And that's one thing with 10 laps to go. These tires, you slip them up just a little bit, they're going to be angry at you pretty much the rest of the run, because they're 18-inch low-profile tires like they are, and they're just super sensitive to any slip up there. As these drivers continue to battle here hard for third spot. Gardner back to the front, trying to make it happen, trying to get that final podium spot. But Taylor from the back of the field really making a good name for himself here tonight.
Oh, yes, he absolutely is. All the drivers running at the north end of the field have put on a fantastic drive thus far. Moore is still running in the lead of this race, actually extending that gap to about a half a second between himself and Drabic. You also got Gardner there in P3. He's battling hard with Taylor. Finally got that move done to remain in P3. Well done from the driver of the number 69 car. My voice already giving out here. Shows you how dramatic this racing has been thus far. Now with 8 laps to go from the GoatLocker Racing Wednesday night Cruisin Classics series at Phoenix, only the second race of this season, and it looks like we're going to declare ourselves the second winner from this season. The driver who won last time out, that being Lucas Lyons, he's running in 7th. He's 3.3 seconds off of the lead, so I think unless we have some sort of late race drama and a couple of restarts to boot, I don't think he's going to be a factor towards the end of this race. But a lot of the drivers running at the north end certainly are. Moore and Drabic, they are extending their gap now as Drapic and Gardner going side by side. This is a battle of the titans. Both of these drivers were trading blows earlier on, nearly making contact, heading through 1 and 2. Drapic very close to getting the old bootscoon boogie put on him by Gardner, heading through 1 and 2. Gardner, he is a man on a mission. He led earlier on in this race, grabbed that Jam Printing and Promotions pole to kick this evening off, but ever since then, and ever since a slow pit stop, he has been out of his groove, but now he's trying to get into the groove and get back up into that top running position. Despite the fact that these drivers have been going side by side, they've actually eaten away a little bit into the gap of JJ Moore. He's had to deal with some lap traffic, so Moore getting slowed down a teeny tiny bit. Drapic and Gardner going to get the better luck of the green when it comes to that lap traffic deal. But right now, Moore leading out now with 5 laps to go at Phoenix. Drapic is a half a second back. Gardner is still side by side with him. I think at this point in time, though, Moore just needs to put his nose to the grindstone. Hope that these drivers battle a little bit farther right behind him, and also hope to God that there isn't another restart to contend with between now and the end of things. Of course, we have 3 green-white checkered attempts at Phoenix this evening, so he just wants to see that white flag more than anything else.
Gardner finally on the inside there, almost made the pass. They're now side by side through the dog leg. This outside line has been kind of the dominant line, making it work. Is the 69 going to slide up in front of him here? He's going to be a clear with 3 laps to go next to him by. Don't think he's going to have enough time to get there, but anything can happen as they now continue this battle on as Drabic tries to shove his nose in there, but he's not going to be able to get back inside of him just yet. 3 laps to go here for the number 54 machine of JJ Moore from 32nd to 1st. Unbelievable run right now. All he wants to see is the white flag here for the number 54 machine.
At this point in time, it's looking very, very likely for him. Knowing my luck, though, probably just jinx it. So, hey, JJ Moore, if you're watching this broadcast and post, I'd like to apologize if I did, in fact, commentator jinx you there just a couple of moments ago. Now, 2 laps to go from the banking of Phoenix Raceway. two
We're gonna have a
more
race on our
times
hands.
around. Really only one more lap. He's got a race on his hands, though. Gardner is very fast. Moore is dropping back a little bit. This is turning into a two-horse race
my
between Moore
goodness.
and Gardner. The 54 and the 69 are covered by 0.3 of a second, heading their way into 3 and 4 for the final time. They're going to be taking the white flag. One more lap of racing action here on Maconi Entertainment from Phoenix Raceway. It's Moore in the 54 leading over Gardner in P2. Gardner actually losing a little bit of time on corner exit. That gap increasing over 0.3 of a second between those two. But look at Gardner sending him off into turn number 1 and 2. Moore needs a fantastic run heading through the final two corners of this race, and hope to God that Gardner isn't going to pull off some heroics. Look at Gardner trying to get that move done, get to his back bumper, but it's not going to be enough. JJ Moore is going to take the checkered flag, the winner from tonight's GoatLocker Racing action on Maconi Entertainment. He wins over Gardner in P2 and Drabick in P3. Those three drivers took up the lion's share of the laps led tonight, and in the end, JJ Moore, the driver of that Toyota Camry, was the one who led the lap. That mattered more than anything else. He took the checkered flag when everything was said and done, and he is going to be victorious from the second race of this season. Credit where credit's due to Jeremy Gardner for closing up towards the end and also coming back from the blink of absolute catastrophe, as that's a little bit uncalled for, gentlemen. That may have been possibly a little bit of a friendly turn. Maybe I'm not too sure.
I think it was friendly.
Yeah, we'll call it friendly. I think we'll probably have a chat with JJ Moore in just a couple of moments' time. But for the moment, he is burning it down at Phoenix Raceway and celebrating a hard night of racing action. Didn't have to use any of those green-white checkered attempts, unlike what we did at Talladega just 1 week ago. And in the end, JJ Moore, the driver of the number 54 Toyota Camry, takes the checkered flag victorious. And in doing so, he was also the hard charger, up 31 spots from where he started in this race. And as JJ Moore continues to burn it down and celebrate his victory from the second race of the GoatLocker Racing Wednesday night Cruisin Classics Next Gen Series, we're going to take a quick little commercial break on here on Maconi Entertainment. We'll be right back with some interviews, the results, and wrap things up from tonight's fantastic evening of racing action. And as we've done so far, we'll be right back after these brief messages. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to Maconi Entertainment. We hope you enjoyed the 115 laps of racing action that we just had from race number 2 of the GoatLocker Racing Next Gen Cruisin Classics series. And in the end, that was actually the qualifying results. I apologize for that. We'll get the race results up in a few moments' time. Jeremy Gardner was the one that picked up the Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award. However, he wasn't able to convert it to victory. Instead, it was JJ Moore in the number 54 Toyota Camry. He ends up winning it over Jeremy Gardner in P2. So close to pulling off the double. In the end, it was just 0.247 of a second, but it just wasn't meant to be for the driver of the number 69 car. Patrick Drabeck going to round out your podium in third. Mike Kostek put on a very hard show in the number 3 car. He is going to be finishing this race in fourth, and we have Jason Taylor in fifth. Daniel D. Cunningham finishing this race in sixth. Lucas Lyons, who opened the season off 1 week ago at Talladega with a dramatic win at the High Banks down in Alabama, he ends up in seventh tonight at Phoenix Raceway. Timothy Stubblefield going to end up in eighth. Brian Provo going to finish this race in ninth, with Tyler Justice rounding out your top 10.
And just outside the top 10, finishing in 11th, the number 43 machine of Sam Milkeland. In the 12th position, the number 51 of Jesse Nicola. In the 13th finishing position, excuse me, the 78 machine of Chris Sawyer. In the 14th position, finishing from the 35th position, 35th starting spot, is the 84 of Charles Stevens. In the 15th position there is the 114 of Travis Bieber. In the 16th spot was Bobby Germain. That was our last driver on the lead lap. 17th and 5 laps down was James Kaufman. Behind him in 18th was Jake Collins, and 19th was Chance Taylor, and in 20th was Cody McIlwain.
And looking through the rest of the field, we've got Blake Edel in 21st, Jeremiah Holt in 22nd. Ended up this race upside down at one point. He's going to be finishing 22nd. Ryan Pendleton, who got involved in an incident earlier on, start up towards the front. However, things do not go to plan. He's going to end up in 23rd. Jesse Whittington going to finish this race in 24th. Chris Smith got involved in multiple incidents. He ends up in 25th. Logan Sturgeon going to be finishing this race in 26th. Justin Klein in 27th. Jamie Barkas in 28th. I'll look through the rest of the field now. We've got Johnny Cofield finishing this race in 29th. Kadorian Davis in 30th. Then we've got Jacob Ellingson in 31st. Brandon Wallace in 32nd. George Jewell in 33rd. Zach Angle in 34th. Peyton Hubbard in 35th. And rounding at the field, Mike George, who did not take the start in this 115 lap race. And I think we got some drivers waiting in the interview waiting area to have a chat with us when everything was said and done. And I'm going to bring in our third place finisher of Patrick Drabeck. Patrick, thank you for joining us in the commentary booth. Led a decent chunk of this race. In fact, I think you led the most amount of laps from tonight's race, but in the end, you have to settle for a P3 result. Talk us through the racing action at Phoenix tonight.
Man, that was a whole heck of a lot of fun. I mean, it got a little ugly there towards the end. A lot of cautions at the end, which really kind of played with some of the strategy and tires and everything like that. But I love coming here in the next-gen car. It was a whole heck of a lot of fun. Battling J.J. Moore all night, Jeremy Gardner, Mike Kostick, all those guys all night long was an absolute blast.
Oh, it looked like a blast as well. You're wheeling that 07 car. Decent chunk on a different strategy compared to everyone else that you were around, so it must have been fun sliding around this racetrack. Now, this track usually in real life is a little bit synonymous for not being very easy to pass at. So I want to ask you this. Was strategy a really big factor when it came to planning for how you were about to tackle that race?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I mean, anytime we come into one of these races, you kind of look at your tire count, you kind of look at the lap count, and you start working the race backwards. Same with fuel. And we kind of worked the race backwards as a team and looked at it and said, hey, the tires have got to go about 30 laps a stint here. And then that last part of the race, I mean, it just was kind of plagued with cautions. And in those situations, sometimes it's just rough being the leader because most of the field's going to do at the absolute opposite of what you do, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm super stoked to bring the Jam Printing and Promotions 07 home with this podium finish for sure.
Was a very good result in the early stages of this season. I'm sure you're very happy to leave just the second race of this season with a very good result. And you're also running up towards the front, if I remember correctly, at Talladega only 1 week ago. So a fantastic way to kick this season off for you. Now, next time out in 1 week's time, we're going to be running at a very different racetrack in the form of Auto Club Speedway. Sadly, doesn't exist in real life anymore. So how do you think that race is going to be from your end in 1 week's time?
It's another track that I absolutely love, man. It's just wide open. You got a lot of room to move the car around. You got a lot of room for, 2 and 3 wide racing. The draft will come into play at that track as well. And man, that's just going to be, hold it to the floor and go get you some. So looking forward to that one. And you put the next gen cars on that track, and the GoatLocker always puts on a show.
I like that phraseology there. You hold to the floor and hope that he can get you some. And, I mean, you got some tonight, ended up with a podium result. And now, Patrick, thank you so much for joining us in the commentary booth. Is there anyone you want to give a thanks to or shout out?
Yeah, I mean, all the guys do such a fantastic job of, talking about all of our sponsors and all that they're doing, but Cruisin Classics and Nasties out there in Columbus, Ohio, and everything that they're doing. But really, I just kind of want to give a whole shout out to the entire league at this point in time. There was so much that went into the fall series. we're racing 5 nights a week at this point in time. We've had guys that step up to the plate to help do some admin stuff with here in GoatLocker Racing. The nonprofit is absolutely doing wonderful work. We're getting ready to give away our 3rd racing simulator here very shortly. So a huge shout out to the entire GoatLocker Racing family and everything that's happening right now. I could not be prouder to be a part of this organization and actually be here on Maconi Entertainment Network getting interviewed. I mean, how cool is that?
Well, it's pretty cool to be on an interview, and I'll tell you what, it's kind of breaking the fourth wall. I will say, tuning into the broadcast right now, you can see that our producer has your webcam up right now, so if you want to give a safe for television hand sign to the viewers if you want to do that. But, Patrick, thank you for joining us in the commentary booth. Congratulations on the P3 results when everything was said and done. Excited to see you back out on the racetrack at Auto Club in just 1 week's time. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you.
And that was Patrick Drayback joining us in the commentary booth. And now, Jeremy, would you like to have a chat with our P2 finisher of Jeremy Gardner?
Jeremy to Jeremy, this is one talk. I think I was hoping Jeremy Gardner would probably be in one more position forward. I had talked during a commercial break when you went towards the back. I said, hey guys, better keep an eye on that 69 car. I think he's going to make his way back towards the front. You almost proved me right, man. Walk us through your night.
Yeah, it was a good night. I ran up front for a little bit, and then I made a mistake on pit road. I think I hit Pat on lap 50, just barely touched him, and then getting on pit road, I tapped him, and I was really hoping he didn't get a penalty for it. Looks like he survived it, but I ended up getting a penalty for it. Had to serve my penalty, go to the very back. I had a feeling there was going to be some chaos. I just tried to be patient all night, just trying to make my way back up to the front, save tires. Other than that, man, I'm stoked to finish P2, make my way back through the field. Shout out to Patrick for running me the way he did. I mean, he ran me clean. I didn't mean to accidentally almost turn him on lap 50, so apologies to Patrick on that for sure.
Yeah, and you beat me right to it, Jeremy. I mean, the battles out here between the all of you were really clean and really great to watch. I mean, you're one position away. How many more laps do you think you needed to try to make it happen?
I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 laps. I was racing Patrick hard right there. I was kind of getting the right front really hot, so it's getting tight, getting loose, getting tight, getting loose. So I mean, a couple laps, I think I would have had it.
Man, well, like you said, hopefully I was hoping for you to get one more position because I had faith you're going to do it. It's want to say thank you for providing your webcam tonight. Looking great for this interview. Next week we're going to Auto Club. What are you thinking about that?
I'm pretty good at Auto Club. It's a pretty good racetrack. You got some room. You got multiple lines to run, so I think it'd be pretty entertaining next week.
Awesome, good deal. And who you got to thank for getting you here tonight?
Shout out Lincoln Tech, Hidden Wit Brewery, Cruisin Classics, Nasty's Restaurant and Bar. One of my sponsors, Veterans for Life Foundation, Veterans for Life Racing, InVets, Jamperting and Promotions. Appreciate them. They've been with us for a couple of seasons now. Definitely V-Speed, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, Alexander PC, SimMotion, Next Level Racing, iRacing, Above the Yellow Line, and my guys over at Premier Setup Shop. And of course, y'all putting the broadcast on tonight. Appreciate y'all.
Awesome, good deal. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for coming up to the booth. Great run tonight. Hopefully next week we'll talk to you again. That's Jeremy Gardner, your P2 finisher tonight.
And I think we'll have a chat with one more driver from tonight, and that is our race victor. JJ Moore is now joining us in the commentary booth. And now, Mr. Moore, congratulations on the victory when everything was said and done, and also congratulations on being the hard charger, up 31 positions, I believe, when everything was said and done tonight. Talk us through it from your end behind the wheel.
Well, I had that bad quali. I popped the wall on the second lap, so I set up the both laps, and it is what it is. I've done it a bunch, but I just started picking my way off, made it up to the front. I had that speeding penalty on the last pit stop, about lap 60, and then I just went back up to the front, and I had fun. It was really fun racing. I just kind of did my thing.
And did your thing you did, because that was a storming drive, and even coming back from the pit lane speeding penalty, that was mightily impressive. You were wheeling that thing around this racetrack. That thing had to have been stuck on rails. Of course, I won't ask you to reveal what sort of maybe a little bit of setup trickery that you have at your disposal, but can you talk the viewers through the importance of just having a good race car around this track, which is so challenging in these next gen race cars?
Yeah, it's so difficult around here. You gotta have throttle control. You gotta know where your car's limits are. You gotta be able to run more than one lane, because there are multiple times where I thought the bottom was faster, and I still moved up to the middle because I know the middle lane's always better. It's just so important to know where your limit is, and I think I was one of the people that figured it out really early and was just able to get it done.
Yeah, certainly pushing the envelope when it comes to driving around this racetrack, and you did it fantastically throughout this race. It's going to be only one more week until the series rocks up to Auto Club for the next race of the seasons. How do you think that race is going to be in 1 week's time?
I'm excited. I've ran Auto Club a little bit, but I'm excited. I love Auto Club. I wish it was still a track in real life, rest its soul, but I love it. It's always produced really good racing. It's a really high drafting track, and hopefully we'll have a similar strategy to this. Just keep clean, and hopefully we finish up front.
Keep clean and at the front, and I'm sure after the rousing drive that we saw this evening, we're definitely going to see you at the front throughout a decent chunk of the rest of this season. JJ Moore, thank you so much for joining us in the commentary booth. And now, before we let you go and celebrate this victory, is there anyone you want to give a thanks to or shout out?
Well, firstly, I want to thank GLR as a whole, all the sponsors that go with it, you guys at the broadcasting crew. I really love what everybody does for it. I have multiple family members in the service, active, retired. So I really love that this league's here for my personal being. I want to thank all of Dragon Motorsports. That's Sean Gus, Jake Collins, Ken Davis. None of them, well, Sean didn't run, but Jake and Ken had a little bit rougher experiences, but they were there to support me the entire time. So I want to thank them.
Alrighty, well, there you go, JJ. Congratulations on the victory here at Phoenix, and excited to see you back out on the racetrack at Auto Club in just 1 week's time. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you all.
And that was JJ Moore, who ended up this race in victory lane when everything was said and done. And now, Jeremy, it's fantastic to have a chat with those drivers, and we asked all of them about what their expectations were heading into Auto Club in just 1 week's time. So before we wrap things up, I want to ask you about your expectations heading into Auto Club. Much different track than what we visited so far this season.
Definitely different, but like they've all said, it's big. It's got a lot of room. I know if we get a good long run, I think the top line up against the wall is the fastest, and that can lead to some pretty hectic moves when you got drivers that are just running the bottom and they kind of come up the track, and they don't leave that top lane open. It can lead to some big chaos. But Auto Club is a great track. Like all these drivers said, we're all sad that it's actually gone, and it'll be a good race. And I'm excited to come broadcast it next week here on Maconi Entertainment.
As I will as well. This season has been fantastically entertaining thus far. Even though we only have 2 races on the board, it has been absolutely fantastic. And to have this fantastic racing action, yeah, I gotta have some fantastic sponsor. And as the drivers point out, and have we pointed out throughout this broadcast, we've got some great sponsors here from the GoatLocker Racing series. Our thanks go out to Jam Printing and Promotions for sponsoring the Pole Award, Lincoln Tech for being one of the fantastic partners with GLR, Nancy's Restaurant and Bar, who have been tuning into this broadcast tonight on Maconi Entertainment, as well as Cruisin Classics for being the presenting partner here from the GoatLocker Racing Wednesday night Cruisin Classics Next Gen series. And a friendly reminder, the next time that you're going to be seeing this series here on Maconi Entertainment is going to be in 1 week's time from sunny Southern California at Auto Club Speedway. That will be on Wednesday, September the 11th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and I hope to see you all there here on Maconi Entertainment. Entertainment, always here to bring the action to life. Calling the action tonight was myself, Ron Mullins. Alongside me in the commentary booth has been Jeremy Briggs, with Martin Zakala working on the cameras in the virtual production holder. I apologize, Marty, because I feel like I've been killing your pronunciation throughout this broadcast, but nevertheless, the thanks to all the viewers for tuning in to tonight's racing action. We hope you'll stay tuned for all of the action that we have here on Maconi Entertainment basically every single day. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We hope to see you all wherever it is in the not too distant future.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.